Well, welcome to session number 1 of 10 strategies to survive and to thrive during tough economic times. Before I actually get into the 2 strategies that I want to talk about in this first session, I want to give you just a little bit of an introduction. For one thing, I want you to see the possibilities for your business. And I have a tool for that. If you give me a moment, I'm going to share my screen with you. Take me just a minute to get to the right places here. And let's see, what does that look like? That's it. Okay. This is a tool that I use. It's called the Profit Growth Calculator. Now, if I were working with you one-on-one, we would take the numbers from your business and we would put them into this calculator and we would see what the actual possibilities are for you and for your business. But since I'm working here in a group setting, I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to use numbers for a fictional business. Now, in using this, sorry, I have to bring this over here so I can see it. So in this particular business, we're going to say that over the course of a year, they generate 1,000 leads. And we're going to say their conversion rate is 25%. Each one of their customers purchases from them their product or their service an average of 10 times a year. And the average price or the average amount that they spend during each of those transactions is $100. And so their profit, and then we're going to say their profit margin is also 25%. So that means this particular business is going to have 250 customers over the course of the year. They're going to make $250,000 in annual revenue, and their profit is going to be $62,500. All you're doing is you're just taking those figures that you see there and multiplying them. I'm going to go ahead and click this, multiply the figures for us, and you'll see 250 customers, total revenue $250,000, and the profit $62,500. Now, what would happen? What would happen if we were able to increase each of these 5 areas by just 10%? What would the difference be? What difference would this make in their business? Well, you can see that a 10% increase is going to give them 1,100 years over the course, 1,100 leads over the course of the year. Their conversion rate is going to go from 25% to 27.5%. Instead of each customer making just 10 transactions during the year, they're going to make 11. And instead of spending an average of $100 in each transaction, they're going to spend 110. And their profit margin increases also from 25% to 27.5%. And again, look at the difference that it makes. Their customers jump from 250 to 302. Their total revenue jumps from $250,000 to $365,420. And their profit jumps from $62,500 to $100,490 and change. Now, if you want to get out your calculator and figure that out, that is a 60% increase in their profit. Now, remember, I told you that if you implement the strategies that I teach and you do so in the right order, if you do them at the right time and in the right order, that you can accomplish a 25% increase in your profits over the course of a year. I've just shown you how you can increase it by 60%. Now, to accomplish just the 25% increase that I'm telling you is very possible, all you would need to do is increase each of these areas by just 4.5%. Now catch on to that. We're talking about small incremental changes and how they can have a great impact on the bottom line in your business and easily increase your profit by 25%. And even 60% is extremely possible. But what I want you to take a moment, take a deep breath here, just pause. I want you to dream big. I want you to see the promised land. I want you to see what the real possibilities could be by implementing the correct strategies at the right time in the right order in your business. What if instead of increasing each of these areas by 10%, we increase them by 50%? Well, let's take a look at the figures here. That means your number of customers would increase from 250 would more than double to 562 leads, or excuse me, customers, because your leads would jump from 1,000 to 1,500. Your conversion rate would go from 25% to 37.5%. And that's very possible. All you have to do is learn the right way to close your sales. Your transactions would jump from 10 a year to 15 a year. Instead of spending $100, they'd be spending $150. So 562 customers, your total revenue would be just over $1.25 million, and increasing your profit margin from 25 to 37.5%, your profit would skyrocket from $62.5 a year to just over $474,000. So folks, I want you to see this is something that is very, very possible. So I want to ask you, what's possible for your business if you made small incremental changes over the next 12 months? Hopefully during these sessions that we're going to be together, you'll not only see the potential, but you're going to see the practical way that you can do it in your business. All right, so before I get into the two strategies that I want to share with you about lead generation, I'm going to give you just a few extra tips. Absolutely no extra charge, just a few extra tips. The first is, don't, again, underestimate the value of referrals. Referrals are a great way to get leads. And I want you to understand that generating leads is the lifeblood of your business. You know, you always need to be getting more leads because some of your current customers are going to drop off. Either they're going to lose interest in your product or service, or they no longer need it. They might move away. They're going to die. You're always going to be losing customers for one reason or another, and you need to replace them. And you need to be ready to replace them right away. And that begins with generating leads. So let me share with you just a few general strategies for getting more leads. Again, like I said, don't underestimate the power of referrals. So let me give you a few keys of how you can ask for referrals. The first thing is you need to understand that you are always asking for referrals. Ask for referrals multiple times. Here are some specific times when it's great to make that request, that ask. First of all, when you first meet them, before they ever become a client, be right up front with them and tell them that you expect referrals if you exceed their expectations. Secondly, ask for referrals when they first sign up. You can say something like, so obviously you see the value of buying my product or service. Do you have any friends or family that you think might also benefit from what I do? A third great time to ask for referrals is at the moment of their peak satisfaction, when they are gushing over you, gushing over your product or the service that you provide. And you say to them something like, I'm so gratified to see that you're happy with my product or my service. Now that you know firsthand what I can deliver, can you think of anyone you know that might also benefit from my service? Ask for referrals every time you have a transaction with that client or customer. Don't be afraid to do that. Simply remind them, hey, there may be somebody that you know that could benefit from what I offer. Hey, if you know them, I would love it if you would just pass on my name. If you would use your Facebook account, get on my Facebook page, leave a referral, leave a recommendation or whatever. Don't be afraid to ask for that every time that you have contact with that person. Another way that you can ask for referrals is through the use of your business card. For one thing, you may even want to put that verbiage on your card that you are always looking for new customers and clients, and you appreciate any referrals that people might make. But here's another way that you can use your business card. Instead of giving the prospect or the client just one card, is give them a few cards. And you say to them something like, here's the type of people I love to work with. People who can benefit the most from my services. Do you know anybody like that? If you do, I would be so grateful if you would pass on my contact information to them. You would also want to use your website, your social media sites, again, asking for referrals, letting people know that you're always in the market for new customers and clients. A second key or a second idea, tip, strategy, whatever, for increasing your leads is through publicity and public relations, PR. Don't ever underestimate the value of free publicity. Is there an aspect of your business that the public would find fascinating? If there is, write up a press release or invite a reporter from a local newspaper to come and do an interest piece on you. Perhaps contact your local radio station or TV station if you have one, and share, hey, if you're looking for a human interest story, here's our business. Here's something that we have found our customers really appreciate about what we do. Another thing you might do is simply run special events. This is a great opportunity to get free coverage in the newspaper, local radio, and TV. You can use your market dominating position. What is it that makes you unique in your market, in your field? Again, write a press release, invite someone to come and interview you so that you can highlight how you stand out, how you are different from everybody else in the area that does what you do. Here's an idea for you. You can highlight obscure celebrations that are on the calendar. Did you know there is a special day for just about anything that you can think of? National Science Fiction Day. Invite people to your place of business so that they could meet, say, Iron Man. Say that anybody who comes into your business dressed in a costume of a science fiction character can receive X amount of dollars off of their purchase. You could highlight something for National Spaghetti Day or National Popcorn Day, give out free bags of popcorn. Cheese Lovers Day, Chocolate Lovers Day. Can you imagine? I mean, everybody comes into the store, gets a free candy bar or a free piece of chocolate. Check out calendar.com. Now, I'm going to spell that for you because it's a little bit different. It's CALENDARR.com. Calendar with 2 R's at the end.com. Or you can just Google to find out more ideas of special days. Great way to just do some extra promotion that does not cost you a whole lot. Another thing that you can do is use direct mail, whether it's snail mail or email. Now, typically, this is something that is low cost, but there are some keys to success. First of all, your ad piece must contain it needs to contain great copy. So if you're not a copywriter, if it's not something that you're super comfortable with or super great at, you may want to go ahead and spend the money to buy someone who is good at it, because you want great copy, not just copy. Second thing is make sure that your direct mail is targeting your ideal customers and clients. Now, I also want you to understand the return on investment for a successful campaign in terms of the lifetime value of your customer. Lifetime value of a customer is simply this. It's the annual revenue you receive from your average client times the number of years that they do business with you. For instance, if your average client spends $1,000 with you over the course of a year, and they typically do business with you for 6 years, that makes their lifetime value $6,000. So let's take that example, that customer. What would happen, or what would you think about spending $2,000 on a single mailing? I mean, that sounds pretty expensive, right? I mean, that's a lot of money to put out. But again, let's say that your average customer's lifetime value is $6,000. They do business with you 10 times a year, $100 through each transaction. That's $1,000 per year. They do business with you over the course of 6 years. That's $6,000. So that means that that mailing that cost you $2,000 is going to have a return on investment in the area of $2,400. Now, spending $2,000 on that mailing doesn't seem so expensive, does it? And the last tip that I want to give you is paid advertising. But if you do paid advertising, please, please, please be smart about it. Be smart. Don't do what everyone else is doing when it comes to paid advertising. You know, most ads don't provide a compelling reason for a person to make a purchase or to follow up in any way. Some don't even provide contact information. You know, we have a local a movie theater here in our town, and they run ads for local businesses on the big screen prior to the picture being shown. Or movie, excuse me, kind of dated myself there, didn't I? Yeah, they run full screen advertisements on the big screen prior to showing the movie. One time, not one time, we saw it several times. It was an ad for a local business that was some kind of a boutique. And the ad had the business's name, and then it was just pictures that they had taken throughout their store, which showed you the kind of products. The voiceover talked about, again, the name of their business, talked about the type of things that they provided, but nowhere, neither visually nor audibly, did they ever give the location of their business. And it turned out, I mean, we live in a fairly small town, and so the advertisements were from other towns around us as well. Turned out this was for a business in another town, and we had no idea until we Googled it. Now, tell me how effective that is. Tell me how valuable it is to spend money on an advertisement that doesn't even tell people where you're located. Another thing that many of the ads don't do is they don't have a call to action. There's no direct invitation to purchase or to respond. So again, I want to share, this is an advertisement that I just mocked up. But I find that so many ads, when I open up the newspaper, when I open up magazines, even billboards, whatever, so much of the advertising that I see looks exactly the same. Now, in this example, you have the name of the business in large block letters. You have a picture of the business or a generic graphic. And then there's platitudes. Things like fresh flowers guaranteed. Well, duh, I'm going to a florist. What? That's my minimum expectation, is that I'm going to get flowers that are fresh. Things like family-owned business for over 54 years. You know what? As a consumer, I don't care who owns the business. I don't care how long they've owned the business. What I care for is value for the price I pay. Things like fast, friendly service. Again, that's another one of those duh comments. I mean, isn't that, again, the minimum that you expect from a business that you go into? Things like largest selection of fresh flowers and gifts. How many times have you seen ads that say that? Largest selection, lowest prices, whatever. And then again, a call to action that is nothing more than a telephone number, which is basically call us. So this is an example of what you should not be doing if you're doing paid advertising. What should you be doing? I'm really glad you asked that question, because that is the first strategy that we're going to talk about today around lead generation. So how do you increase the effectiveness of your paid advertising, or any marketing for that matter? Well, I encourage you to use what I call the marketing equation. The average person today is exposed to more than 8,000 marketing messages every day. But most people can't name one that grabbed their attention, or more importantly, one that persuaded them to buy the product or the service that was advertised. So the marketing equation takes that into account, and it's based on what is known as persuasion marketing. Now, please understand that doesn't mean using strong arm tactics. It doesn't mean using deception. It doesn't mean using pressure to sell. It's simply organizing the buying and selling process so that you can present compelling information about your product or service that will persuade your prospects to take specific action. Now, the marketing equation enables you to communicate the value of your product or service and convince your prospects that you offer more value than your competitors. So, the marketing equation works because it's based on providing an experience to your prospects that's focused on 7 basic fundamentals. The first of those fundamentals is everyone wants the best deal, not necessarily the best price, they want the best deal. They want the most value for the price they pay. The second fundamental is that you should almost always market to the negative, almost always market to the negative. Majority of people will do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. So you show them how your product or service provides a solution to their pain points, to their hot button issues. Third principle, or third fundamental, is that prospects buy based on emotion. They use emotion to motivate them to buy. They use logic to justify their purchase. So by marketing to their pain, you are speaking to them in a way that resonates with them emotionally. The fourth fundamental is, as I've already said before, you need to make your business unique, your market dominating position. And the clearer you are as to who you serve, your niche market, your target market, your ideal client, the more you are able to highlight the hot button issues that your target market and your ideal client face. Let your competition try to be all things to all people. You focus on a specific market and you dominate that market. The fifth fundamental is, as I've already said again, create extraordinary value. Show your prospects how they will benefit by purchasing your product or service. How will their lives improve? If your product or service removes a major frustration, fear, or concern, then your prospects will see the value that you offer and the value of your product, the value of your service. Now, the sixth fundamental is you need to be able to communicate your uniqueness and your extraordinary value. You need to develop what many people call an elevator pitch. This is something which clearly and concisely communicates what you do. And it needs to be worded in such a way that it automatically causes the person you're talking to ask this question. How do you do that? You see, that opens the door for you to have a more in-depth conversation with that prospect. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're going to a networking event. You're ready to put your house on the market. And so as you're walking around the room and you're talking with people, you meet up with one person and you ask them that question. What is it that you do? And they say, oh, I'm in real estate. I sell homes. And you think, wow, I might need to talk to this person because that's what I'm looking for. I'm in the market for a real estate person. But as you continue to walk around the room and you meet more people, you run into one person and you ask again that question, what is it that you do? And this is what they say. They say, I sell homes in 30 days or less at the full asking price, or I buy that home myself. Then let me ask you this. If you were in the market for a real estate person, which one of those real estate agents would you call first? That one who had that concise, clear elevator message that said, this is what I do. I sell homes in 30 days or less for full asking price. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, what real estate person can do that? How in the world can they do that? Well, this particular real estate agent came up with a business plan that was able to provide the results that he promised. But you see, you wouldn't know that unless you asked the question. And so it gave this real estate person the opportunity to have that more in-depth communication with that prospect. And then the seventh fundamental is, remember, prospects buy what they want, not what they need. Remember, wants are based on emotions, whereas needs are based on logic, and people buy more based on emotion than they do based on logic. Now, marketing is a science. And like most things in science, there's a very simple equation that, when followed, will most always produce the right results. I call that equation. Now, marketing is a science. And like most things in science, there's a very simple equation that, when followed, will almost always produce the right results. That's what I call the marketing equation. The marketing equation consists of 4 components: the interrupt, the engage, the educate portion, and the offer. Interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. Now, the interrupt, the reason why you need an interrupt in your marketing is that prospects are being bombarded by advertising and marketing. I already mentioned that over 8,000 marketing messages for the average person every day. As a result, we've learned how to tune most of it out. But marketing that addresses their hot button issues, that addresses their pain points, tends to reach out and grab their attention. This is the headline of your marketing material, or the first thing you say in a TV or radio ad, even the first thing that you say in your elevator speech. You remember the example of the blah ad that I shared with you just a few moments ago, where the name of the business is in big, bold letters at the top? No. You need to interrupt the prospect with your headline. One way I like to explain it is this: the interrupt part of the equation highlights the problem your prospects have, but they don't want. I'm going to show you an example of this in just a few minutes so that hopefully it'll help solidify it in your mind. But the interrupt, you've got to grab their attention. The second part of the equation is the engage. All right, so now you've got their attention, but guess what? You only have a few seconds to capitalize on that and keep their attention. Otherwise, they're going to go back to just tuning you out, along with all the other marketing noise that's going on. So to engage those whose attention you've already garnered, you need to show them that you have the answer to their problem. You have the solution they want, but they don't have. That's the engage portion of the equation. The educate component, I will admit, this is difficult to do if you only have a small print ad, or if you only have 15 or 30 seconds of airtime. But if your marketing piece allows, this is where you would show how your solution will solve their problem. And to make it even more powerful, if you can, give examples, even testimonies of how your solution fixed the problem that other people like your prospect were facing. On your website or social media, you may want to use a video for this component of the equation. And then the fourth component, the offer. The offer is a call to action. Now, keep in mind, when you're speaking with a prospect, or a prospect first sees your marketing piece, whether it's print ad, TV, radio, whatever, they may not be ready yet to purchase the service or the product that you offer. But that doesn't mean that they won't in the future. So you want them to take some action, even if it's not making the purchase right now. You want them to take some action. So you offer them a free tip sheet. For instance, a contractor, a home remodeler, might offer something like this: 10 questions you need to ask your next contractor before you sign the contract. I'll tell you what, I really wish someone had given me one of those tip sheets. because I have had many headaches and spent way too much money on contractors who I never should have hired in the first place. But it was because I didn't know what questions to answer in the first place. I didn't know what questions to ask in the first place. And so think about your business. What are the pain points? What are the hot button issues that your prospects face? Perhaps you can put a tip sheet that will help them avoid further pain down the road. So you offer them a tip sheet, a report, a brochure, something that you can mail them or email them that provides them something of value. Now, please catch that. Whatever you're offering, it needs to be something that provides value. Please do not send them a flyer or a sales flyer or a sales brochure. This is not a marketing piece in that sense. If you make it a sales flyer or a sales brochure, it will turn your prospects off. They will probably throw your material away without even looking at it. So make sure you're sending them something that provides value. The third thing is you want to make it a low risk offer. For that reason, I don't recommend offering a free consultation or a phone call, because most customers, when they see that type of a call to action, immediately think to themselves, this is going to lead to a high pressure sales pitch. And so they're not even going to submit themselves to that kind of scenario. Instead, offer them something that you can send to them without them having to talk to you or having to talk to one of your salespeople. Offer them something they can read at their leisure or their convenience. Now, in one of our other sessions, we're going to be looking at strategies for risk reversal, which kind of ties into this offer area. When you make this offer, you're doing a couple of things. Again, you're beginning to establish a relationship, and that's very, very important. Because like I said, not every prospect is going to be ready to pull the trigger and make the purchase of your product or service the first time that they come across your marketing and advertising. So what you want to do is you want to be able to enter into a conversation that continues. And so when you make this offer, one of the things you want to do is you want to capture their name and their email address. Now, some people ask for a phone number. Again, I'm not sure that I highly recommend that, because I know that I'm very hesitant to give someone my phone number when I'm just looking for some basic information, because I don't want to be in the middle of my workday and have somebody call me with a sales call. And so I'm very reluctant to give out my phone number that way. So instead, I would encourage you, make sure you capture their name and their email address. Now, what this does is this allows you to put them into what we call a drip funnel campaign. It's where you continue to send them valuable information over a period of time through follow-up emails. It not only solidifies your name and the name of your business in their minds, it also enables you to establish your expertise and your credibility with them. And most important, it helps you begin to develop a relationship. Now, I said that I was going to show you an example. So let me share my screen. Here we go. I think this is it. Yes, there we go. All right, this is a case study of a child psychologist. Now, this psychologist specialized in helping parents with out-of-control kids. And notice the headline on his website: Parenting Advice from Dr. John Smith. Now, let me ask you, if you were a parent with a screaming kid, would that headline hit any emotional buttons for you? Probably not. And unless you already know who Dr. Smith is, his name's kind of irrelevant. So this headline just wasn't cutting it. It wasn't creating the leads that he wanted and needed for his business. So he used the marketing equation and he created a new headline based on the interrupt component that I shared with you earlier. His new headline: Are you sick and tired of the yelling, screaming, and belligerent attitude of your child? Now, let me ask you this. Does that headline hit some emotional hot buttons? Oh, you bet it does, especially if you're the parent of an out-of-control child. You read that headline and you say, hey, that's me. And then he also revamped the remainder of his landing page based on the marketing equation. Look at his subheadline. Now you can discover the secrets of controlling your child and instantly restore peace and quiet in your home. Boy, doesn't that sound ideal to a parent who is pulling their hair out trying to figure out how to control their child? Now, keep in mind, his headline, The Interrupt, highlighted the problem they had, but they didn't want: yelling, screaming, belligerent attitude of your child. The subheadline, the engaged portion, highlighted the solution they wanted, but they didn't have: controlling your child, restoring peace and quiet in the home. Now, in this particular instance, he created a video which became the educational portion of his marketing. And in that, he gave further proof that he was the one who held the key to the solution they were looking for. And then look at his offer right here in the middle of the page. It's compelling. Gain and maintain control in 60 seconds, in less than 60 seconds. Again, man, if you're a parent with an uncontrollable child, this is heaven. I mean, this is gold. And look what they had to do. All they had to do was put in their name and their email address. They didn't have to call a phone number where they had to talk with somebody. They didn't have to go into the office for a free consultation. All they had to do was provide their name and their email address, and they received this report, how they could gain and maintain control in less than 60 seconds. And keep in mind, they know that when they provide that once they get that report, if they don't want to get anything else from Dr. John Smith, all they have to do is hit unsubscribe. But here's the thing. If you are doing the same thing that Dr. John Smith is, once you get them into your funnel campaign, you're continuing to provide them with valuable information. You're not selling them sales pieces. You're not sending them sales pieces. Instead, you're simply following through with more valuable information, establishing your expertise, establishing your credibility. And instead of giving some big old sales spiel, you simply say, hey, if you'd like to learn more, call for a free consultation. Well, by revamping his landing page using the marketing equation, this doctor saw an increase in the number of people who did ask for his free gift and followed up by requesting consultations. And as a result, his income immediately increased by $2,400 a month, or $28,800 over the course of the year. Simple changes, small incremental changes that had a major impact on his revenue. Let me ask you, what potential impact could be made on your business by looking at your marketing and your advertising it and making it conform to the marketing equation? It could be pretty significant, couldn't it? Now, the second strategy that I want to share with you around lead generation is called joint ventures, or JVs for short. Now, this is a strategy that has the potential to begin generating instant cash flow for you right out of the gate. So let me share my screen and talk to you about joint ventures. Joint ventures involve two or more businesses that decide to form a partnership to share markets or endorse a specific product or service to their customer bases. And usually this is done under a revenue share arrangement. One of the keys, though, is you have to find partners who service the exact same type of clients that need or want what you sell. So I want you to ask yourself, who are your ideal clients? And again, hopefully this is something that you've already done. We talked about this in the intro to these sessions. Once you answer that, though, now you ask the second question, and that is, who already has access to my ideal clients? Who has a database that consists of my ideal or target audience? Once you've done that, you begin to create an entire list of possible joint venture partners in your area. And you divide that list into two groups. You divide it into those you already have a relationship with and those who you do not yet have a relationship with. Then you want to select about 25 from that first list, those that are in your area, service the same target market you do, people you already have a relationship with. You email them, you direct mail them, you call them, whatever, and you explain how what you offer can have a great benefit for both them and their clients. Now, you may need to dig deep because you want to list all the benefits you can think of that they might enjoy. You need to find ways to make this truly a truly viable and worthwhile investment for these potential JV partners. You need to find ways that gives them more time, makes them more money, improves their own marketing, or increases their exposure. So you could say something to them like this: since I'm confident your prospects will love this product or love this service, and they'll love you even more for providing it to them, I want to reward you by specifically paying you a 50% affiliate commission. That's rather than my standard rate of 25% commission rate for affiliates, I want to give you 50%. Now, if you really want to knock their socks off, offer them 55%, because that makes them feel they are getting the better end of the deal. So let me share an example of an effective joint venture partnership. This is based on what is called an event chain. Now, an event chain is a series of businesses that customers purchase from, typically in a specific sequence, for a specific event or project. Now, we're going to do an example of a florist. The event chain is going to be a wedding. That's the event. It begins with the young man when he decides that he wants to marry the love of his life. He goes to a jeweler, he purchases the ring, and then he goes and he pops the question. And hopefully she says yes. All right. Once she said yes, the two of them begin this chain. They have to look for a wedding venue. They have to look for a wedding planner. They have to look for a venue for the reception, a bridal shop where she can get her dress. Here's our florist where they're going to get the flowers, a baker for their cake, and a printer for their invitations. Now, this is what I want you to see. Every business above the florist endorses the florist and sends prospects to their place of business. The florist, on the other hand, endorses and sends prospects to the businesses below them in the event chain. Now, in this example, the florist is going to cultivate a joint venture relationship with at least one business in the chain. They obtain at least one referral each month from one of the businesses in the chain above them. Now, I want to say this again because I want you to see how powerful this is. In this example, we're only saying that they're going to obtain one referral each month from one of the businesses in the chain above them. They also are going to make at least one referral each month to each of the businesses below them. So here's the potential increase in revenue for this florist. Now, if one of the 5 businesses above the florist were to send just one referral each month that became a customer, that would mean the florist had 12 more sales over the course of the year due to their JV partnership. Now, if the average floor bill for a wedding is $3,000, in 2021, prices range from $1,500 to $5,000, that would mean the additional income for the year through this partnership would equal $36,000. Now, even if their revenue share agreement were for 55%, I'm giving you the worst case scenario, even if that revenue share arrangement were for 55%, the revenue increase for this florist would be $16,200. Additionally, if the florist were to send just one prospect a month to to the baker and to the printer who made purchases from those businesses, well, the average price for a wedding cake is about $3,000. Now, if the revenue share agreement here, again, I'm giving you worst case scenario, were just 10% going back to the florist, that would be an additional $3,600 for the year. The average price for printing is $1,000. Again, at a 10% revenue share, that would put another $1,200 in the florist's pocket. Now, what is the potential impact on the florist's revenue by implementing this one strategy and following through with minimal work? Keep in mind, $16,200 in additional business, plus they're going to get a revenue share from the baker of $3,600, a revenue share from the printer for $1,200, for a total of $21,000 in additional revenue for the year. Now, again, this is a worst case scenario. Remember how many businesses were above the florist? I said if only one of those businesses sent a referral each month, that this $21,000 is the possible impact on their business. But what if more than one of those businesses gave them a referral? What if 3 of those businesses gave them referrals every month? I mean, this impact could be significantly greater. So I want you to take some time and reflect on what event chains your business might fall in. Make a list of those chains with specific business names, people you might be able to establish a joint venture partnership with, and try to figure out the potential impact on your revenue that could result from partnering with those businesses. Make plans to approach them with the concept and the offer. Now, I have several examples of scripts and wordings for emails and letters that can be used to approach these businesses, and I would highly recommend that you definitely work on wording this in the best possible way. And it's also essential that you have a joint venture agreement in written form, which specifies the responsibilities of all parties so that there are no misunderstandings in the future. Now, as I said at the beginning of this segment, this is a strategy that has the potential to begin generating instant cash flow right out of the gate. Well, again, I asked the question then, what kind of impact could this strategy have on your business? So in this session, we've looked at lead generation. I gave you several tips at the beginning. Then we looked at 2 strategies in particular: implementing the marketing equation in all of your marketing and advertising, and establishing joint venture partnerships. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to convert those leads into paying customers. So I hope to see you on the flip side, and we'll talk some more, give you some more strategies so that your business can experience even more success, even during these tough economic times. This is Chris Mahan. Until next time, bye.